Hey everybody, how's it going? It's the Daily Shooter, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of my new favorite pistols. This is the CZ P-07 Urban Gray Suppressor Ready. So let's get started. Okay, so the CZ P-07 Urban Gray Suppressor Ready. This is a polymer frame, single action, double action, hammer fired handgun from CZ, and it is a representation of where CZ has come from its long history, its long past. CZ has been around for a while, and they have a history of providing excellent pistols to military and law enforcement. They have a long track record in the competition world, and they're known for their reliability, their accuracy, the low recoil. They have a lot going for them. So there's a lot of people out there that will buy a CZ just because it has that name stamped on it. So this right here is part of their 2016 series, and this offers some differences between pistols that they offered in the past, like being completely suppressor ready with suppressor height sights. There's a lot to talk about with this pistol, so we're going to put it on the table, and we're going to go over the different components, different features that you get with the P-07 Urban Gray, and we'll talk about my experience with it, because there's some things that I like, some things that I didn't like, but overall, if you bought one of these, I think you're going to be happy with it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the tech specs out of the way right off the bat for those people that want to know. So the CZ P-07 has a 4.36-inch barrel. It comes in at a weight of 28.7 ounces. The overall length is going to be 7.9 inches. Overall height is going to be 5.8 inches. The overall width, which again you have to remember is measured from the widest point, so that's going to be either from the safety or the decocker right here, and you're looking at 1.46 inches. It does have a threaded barrel, and it comes with 2 magazines. It is polymer, single action, double action. Now, another thing I really like about the P-07 is the stuff that comes in the box. That might sound kind of funny, but they put stuff in the box that actually matters. So obviously you get the standard stuff. You have your owner's manual right here, which is actually pretty good. There's a lot of good information in there. You get your cable lock, right? You get your cleaning stuff, so you have your brush to run through the barrel. You also get something for your patches to run through the barrel and help you clean it out. But you also get really nice interchangeable back straps. So we have one that's already on there. We have a small, medium, and large, and they actually do change the size. It's not so minimal that you wouldn't notice. So if you're somebody who's got these like big bear paw hands and you want a bigger grip, just go ahead and switch it out for the large, and it's going to fit your hand much better. But my favorite thing that's in the box is the fact that they actually offer, or not offer, but include a safety. So what comes on the pistol right out of the box is going to be a decocker. What this decocker does is, let's say that you have this back like this, okay, and this has been safety checked prior to doing this, but let's say you have it cocked back like this and you want to decock it. All you do is simply push down on the decocking lever, and it puts it in a staged position. So it doesn't allow it to go all the way forward. It's just like a quarter back, and so it's staged right here, which is going to be perfect for carry. But if you're somebody who doesn't like the fact that that also changes your trigger pull, so when you use the decocker and you push it down and you have this little quarter stage right here, the trigger is going to not be staged back like it was when the hammer was all the way back. The trigger comes forward, so it's more like a double action trigger at that point rather than the single action when this thing's ready to go. So if you don't want the decocker, they actually include a safety, and it's very easy to swap out. Once you take the slide off, there's just, a little pin to remove and a small spring. You pop off the decocker, you switch it out for the safety, which I think is really cool that they included, so you don't have to go out and spend another 60 bucks or $100 or whatever they would charge for these. It's ready to go. You switch it out, you put your safety in, and now you have your safety. You can have this thing cocked, put it on safe, and you can carry it with a little bit more confidence. So again, I like the stuff that they added in the box, and the fact that you can change out just about everything on this. Another thing that I like is that they use a standard 1913 pick rail. So we have this 1913 rail on the front, gives you a lot of adjustability for putting on your lights and lasers, rather than, and I just talked about this in another video, rather than just one single slot or using some type of proprietary rail where you have to use their lights and their equipment and stuff like that. Anything that will attach to a 1913 rail is going to fit on the bottom of this. So it's a really nice design and a very convenient package that they have everything in the box ready to go. Now, I also want to point out some of the differences between the P-07 Urban Gray Suppressor Ready and the standard P-07. The first one is going to be, obviously, that it's suppressor ready. So you have suppressor height sights on this. They're very nice tritium 3-dot sights. So we have tritium inserts in the back. We have a tritium insert and a white dot in the front right there. They're metal sights, and they're lifted up enough to be able to get you over that suppressor if you have a suppressor attached to it, which also means that we have a threaded barrel, and it comes with a thread protector pre-installed. Obviously, you're not going to have those things on the standard P-07. Another thing that they changed for the suppressor ready, the Urban Gray, is that unlike a standard P-07 that would come with 15-round magazines, they give you 2 magazines that are a 17-round capacity. So we have witness holes on the back here. They stop at 15 rounds, but then we have this additional base plate right here that allows 2 more rounds to be installed. So a total of 17 rounds, and you get 2 magazines with this. Now, the P-07 and even the P-07 suppressor ready is going to be kind of a carry size pistol. But one thing to consider if you are thinking about using this for your CCW is that the standard P-07 is going to be a little bit easier to conceal than the suppressor ready. And that's because obviously we have an extra 2 rounds here. The magazine is going to stick out a little bit further. That could lead to some printing. We have slightly higher sights, and we have a slightly longer barrel. So the P-07 suppressor ready is just a little bit bigger in overall dimensions than the standard P-07. So that's something to keep in mind. But the P-07 and the P-07 suppressor ready do come with a really nice changed geometry hammer that's supposed to be more snag free. They do have a nice beaver tail right there to protect your hand from that hammer, and if you were choke up too high and get whacked by that, that would suck. So they have a nice beaver tail there, and again, I would say it's a compact. It's not super compact. The P-07 is definitely going to be more compact than the P-07 suppressor ready, but still, I think that this is definitely a carryable size. Okay, so now let's go and talk about a very important part here, which is going to be the trigger. The trigger is extremely important on any pistol because it can affect your accuracy on the first shot. It can also affect your accuracy on follow-up shots and so forth, but it's especially important on a single action, double action, and that's because your accuracy can really be affected by that first trigger pull, which is going to be double action if the hammer is up and it's not cocked already. That's because double action is going to be doing 2 things. It's going to be cocking and releasing the hammer. So with the double action pull, it's usually going to be pretty long. So if I show you guys right here, you can see it's fairly long and it's kind of heavy, right? So you bring it back, it also brings the hammer back, and then when you get all the way back there, it breaks, right? With the single action, once you have the hammer already back, the trigger actually travels much further back, and you have, well, a much lighter trigger and a much shorter trigger. So you can see the amount of take-up that I have right here is going to be a lot less, but it's also a lot lighter as well. So it's a very light trigger until you get back to that wall, and then it breaks. So the interesting thing about this trigger is this is actually one of the things that I kind of like and don't like about this pistol, and it's really not just because it's this particular pistol. It's really any single action, double action trigger. I'm not really a huge fan. I prefer single action only triggers, and if you're somebody who's coming over from a single action only to a single action double action or a double action only trigger, it's going to take some practice, it's going to take some training. You're going to have to get out there and learn how to use that double action trigger just to get used to that long travel and heavy weight, which can take you off target for your first shot. But the other issue that I have with a lot of double action triggers is that with, let's say typically with a single action trigger, when you pull the trigger, and then you bring your finger off the trigger for that reset. Once you hit that reset, you're typically at the wall for a single action, which means there's no more take up or anything. You hear that click, you can maybe feel that little tactile click on your finger. You're usually at the wall at that point. You just give it a little bit of a pull and bang, off you go, right? But with a double action, what happens a lot of times, if you are, let's say you take your first shot, right? You take your finger off and you relieve pressure, and then you hear that reset. At that point, there's usually, again, going to be some more take-up before you hit the wall. There's not an immediate wall right away. There's some more take-up, and then the trigger breaks. And what that does to me is, if I'm used to shooting single action, I've been out there for the whole day with single action, I switch over to something like this, is sometimes I will not release enough, and I'll end up with a dead trigger because I'll, be trying to shoot fast or something, right? And I won't let the trigger release enough to either completely reset because it's a longer reset, or again, I'll just ride the trigger in an improper way. So again, it just takes practice to get it right, but it's just not my favorite type of trigger. Now, with that being said, I should mention that for a single action, double action trigger, this one's actually really nice. It's definitely a lot nicer than some other SADAs that I've had in the past. It's very smooth in the take-up. It's still heavy and it's still long, but there's no grittiness to it whatsoever. It's just a nice, smooth take-up and then a nice break. So the break is pretty good. The reset, again, even though it's in that configuration, it's still good for what it is. So that's something that you want to note. If you're somebody who doesn't care about that, and somebody who isn't affected by that whatsoever, or maybe you're even somebody who prefers that, then this actually has a really nice trigger for single action, double action. Okay, so let's go ahead and close this out by giving you guys my overall thoughts and impressions on this. One, I love it. It's a fantastic pistol. It's a lot of fun to shoot. It's a lot of fun to take out there. Again, the recoil impulse is very nice. It's actually not the lightest recoil impulse for a 9mm that CZ makes. I'm not sure if it has something to do with the overall design, but it does feel like it has a little bit more felt recoil than some of the other CZ models that are out there. This one is a little bit poppier than some other ones that I've tested, and that's coming from about the same size group. So it does have a little bit more felt recoil, but still a lot less than some other brands that are on the market, again, in the same caliber and same size. It's a lot of fun to shoot. I love the versatility of it. It feels really good in my hand. I am super accurate with this thing. That was one thing that I found right off the bat. This thing will put hole on top of hole on top of hole all day long. So if you're looking for something that's accurate, you can definitely be as accurate as your skill level will let you with the P-07 Urban Grey Tactical or the suppressor ready. I myself love suppressor height sights. I put suppressor height sights on just about everything, even if it's not even suppressor ready. If it doesn't have a threaded barrel, it's not suppressor ready. I just like sights that are slightly lifted up. It just, to me, I like it better than having a sight that's really low profile to the pistol. It just feels like I'm getting the pistol out of the way of what I'm trying to see. So I like the suppressor height sights. They have tritium inserts, so it's easy for me to see at night. The threaded barrel is also really nice, and it has a pretty nice thread protector as well. It's come a little bit loose on me at times, but for the most part, it's stayed tight, so it's not really an issue. I like the front cocking serrations along with the rear serrations, especially given the fact that this slide is low profile. I can still get my hand up there and I can cock it from the front or the back, or I can do a press check and make sure that I have something loaded up. So really nice serrations, nice slide, excellent geometry, looks great, love everything about it. The sights and everything are great. So again, this is definitely one to check out. This is definitely one of the better 9mm pistols that's on the market today. It's definitely fantastic, especially for the price. It's not super expensive, but it's at the same time not inexpensive either. So you're going to find this a little bit below 600 and when the market is good and we have a lot more inventory, you're going to find it probably in the mid 500s, somewhere around there. I paid $589 for mine at my local FFL, which is Spartan Arms here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So again, I paid about $589, but it depends on the market and availability. Prices change over time as well, but I definitely don't think you can go wrong. It feels really good, it works really well, and it will cover a lot of different points. You can use this for duty, you can use this for home defense, you can use this for CCW. I could say with the 4.3-inch barrel, you could still use this for competition. You could use it for suppressors, good magazine capacity, and so forth. So again, I definitely think you can't go wrong with the P-07, especially the suppressor-ready model with all of these upgrades to it. So I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you liked that review. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and the little bell notification next to it so you guys know what videos are going to be coming out. Have a great day.